Hi, and welcome to one more video about Proclus' philosophy of time. In this video, I want to start talking about what Proclus' philosophy of time can teach us about history, right? How we understand the history of ideas, especially, in a different way, because of Proclus' philosophy of time, and its position within history. And the first thing I want to do actually is polemical. I want to criticize the ideas of another philosopher, a Brazilian philosopher, Olavo de Carvalho, who died last year, and a very controversial philosopher, rightly so, supported Bolsonaro. And although he's much more than that, full disclosure, I was a student for 2 years, but anyway, I want to talk about a theory that he has in his main monograph. It's not the center of his philosophy, but it's the longest and most coherent piece of philosophy he wrote, which is called O Jardim das Aflições, the Garden of Afflictions, which is essentially a study of the idea of empire in the West and the transitions that it goes through from the Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire, the idea of many national empires, and then to the fully secularized form of empire that he identifies in the 20th century. So, already starting in the 19th century with Napoleon, but reaching its full incarnation with the United States and its imperial power. And he says it's a book with many interesting things, but at some point he engages in this kind of conservative Catholic intellectual history of where did things go wrong in the history of ideas? When did intellectuals stop believing in God as a norm? How did God die? How was the world disenchanted? Some people ask this, it's not how you pose the question, but some people ask this by asking, how did modernity begin? Is it Descartes and the ego's fault? Is it Duns Scotus and the Univocity of Being? Is it the Paris condemnations that of 1277 that set off modern science? There are many culprits that come up. In the narrative that Olavo spins here, this is just part of the narrative, it's Cusanus, it's Nicolaus von Cusa, right, the theologian who bears the brunt of the fault. He himself is not yet exactly to blame, but he sets off this development that ends with people going for theosophy and the Tao of physics and things. And so what does he do? He's, according to Olavo, he directed our faculty of spiritual insight. And it's clear from the way Olavo is talking here, he mentions Averroes and others, that he means nous, right? This, our faculty of intellectual intuition, which according to Olavo is made for capturing eternal metaphysical principles that are always the same, and he turned that and used it to know space, used it to know the natural world. But the natural world is by nature indeterminate, and so he found paradoxes there. And he set off our nous, our faculty of intellectual insight, into this interminable search for certainty in the natural world. And then this led scientists to banish everything in the natural world, in the world of our experience that didn't fit their mathematical models. They searched for a proper object of nous, but of course there is no such thing, because according to Olavo, the natural world is inherently chaotic and unpredictable and indeterminate. And so this search for certainty leads the scientists to keep creating new and new mathematical models and to ignore and to cut down from experience more and more things. And this disenchants the world, and this also turns our faculty, our intellectual faculty that should be toward God and towards eternal things, to natural things, and then we seek God there, and then you get all these materialistic kinds of spiritualities, and that's where Blavatsky comes in. But it all started with this turn of nous, away from spiritual things to the natural world. And this wasn't the case beforehand. This wasn't the case with Aristotle's physics. Aristotle recognized that you can't do mathematics about physical things, and therefore you can only do mathematics about ideal things. And so Aristotle here is the model that was abandoned in the Renaissance and was abandoned at great cost. As far as this is a story about nous, my study of Proclus leads me to think that there is not a single ounce of truth in any of it. And I look forward to explaining why in the following videos. Once more, if you would like to subscribe, enroll already for my course on Time and the Gods, please see the link below. Thanks.